Alright, so in this video we are going to take everything we've learned throughout this course and actually create an illustration. This is going to be an illustration based on one of my sketches, which you can download. The link is in the description below. If you have not downloaded that yet, go ahead and do that so you can follow along with this demo. But let's just jump in and get going. So first thing I want to do is grab the screenshot of that illustration. I'm just gonna scale it down. I'm gonna hit E and hold shift and scale it down to 1000 by 1000 so it fits. There we go, that looks good. Alright, so next I'm going to double click on this layer. I'm gonna make sure I lock it and make sure dim image to 50% is selected. You can dim it to whatever you want. I think 50% is so go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and create a new layer. This one we'll call outline. Alright, so what we're going to do here is use combination of shapes and the pen tool to create the outlines for this. Then we'll create the fills and the highlights and the shadows, and yeah, you can just see how I go about stuff. So first off, let's see, this ear I could probably use a shape for. So let's hit L for the ellipse tool. And starting right here, I mean that looks about right. Let's go ahead and go to the swatches and get rid of that fill. I just want to work with the strokes at this point. That way it's easier for me to see. I'm going to hit E to transform it a little bit. Cool, and let's tweak the stroke a bit. So, I mean, something like that looks pretty good. Let's bump up the stroke size to maybe like 7. Yeah, that should work. Alright, then what I want to do is go ahead and cut it. So let's add an anchor point right here, an anchor point down here, and let's just grab those two, go up here and cut those paths. Then I can just grab the direct select tool, delete that part. Oh, also let's go to the stroke options, make sure the cap is rounded, the joins are rounded, like so. Perfecto. And then we can tweak the colors and such later. Alright, now let's select the pen tool. I'm gonna just click right here and we'll just go ahead and outline this. I'm probably gonna fast forward through some of these parts just so it's not super boring to watch. So let's put an anchor point right there. That looks good. Let's bring this handle up so it will curve back up. And maybe put one right here. Maybe here-ish. There we go. Get that curve down below. Put one right here. Get the curve of the hair. And we will just bring it down like this. Cool. And we'll hit escape to get out of that. Hit P again to bring up the pen tool again. Bring it down here, make sure it's curved. Boom, boom, boom. This handle looks a little funky, so let's shorten that ever so slightly. There we go, that looks good. Another one down here. I don't want to close the anchor point, so make sure it doesn't do that. And then I can just zoom in, grab that anchor point, and manually adjust it. I actually don't think I want it to be right at the end, because you can't really see the definition of the ear at that point. There we go, that looks good. And we can also create some strokes for the hair, details. So a quick tip on here, this is what I do from time. If I want one continuous line that's even all throughout, I will create one big line, and then let's hit the plus key, and let's put one right here and right here. Basically, I'm putting 2 anchor points where I want to cut it, and then hit the direct select tool, and let's go up here and cut those, and you can just cut that part out. Now it's like even with the other path, which is pretty dope. Let's create some right here. And then I can just duplicate this, put an anchor point by hitting plus, select the minus to delete that other anchor point. Beautiful. All right, so for the eyes, we can probably use the ellipse tool. Let's give it a try. Something like that maybe. And then we can hit E to rotate it ever so slightly. That looks pretty good. Let's grab the anchor point, or the pen tool, I'm sorry. Boom, boom, boom. And then what I'm going to do is hit the anchor point here and the anchor point here and cut it so I can delete that bottom part. Boom. And let's do the same for this one. Alright, and then grab the pen tool, we'll do the same, like so. Hit plus, add some anchor points so we can cut it. Direct select tool, cut those. Ooh, this one's a little bit off, so let's go grab that. There we go. Do the mouth, get it down like that. Probably need to tweak that handle, yeah. So what I'm going to do is hold Option, and you can just grab one single handle like that. And actually grab the direct select tool and make sure this is like evenly rounded. There we go. Cool. Now let's grab the pen tool. Gonna have to fix that anchor point down there. Whoops. So we can bring it up like that. Cool, cool, cool. Let's make sure this anchor point is rounded. So let's go up to convert. Convert it to smooth. Maybe let's bring it down a little bit. There we go. Basically, you just got to fiddle with the handles and stuff until it's smooth, until you get what you want. Something like that looks pretty good to me. Now let's get the bottom of the face. And let's make sure it's connected up here as well. Perfect. Oh, and let's not forget about that ear as well. And I think these strokes might be like a little large, so let's grab these. Maybe the inside of the ear too. Maybe bump it down a little bit. I think what I'm going to do is make the outside strokes a little bit larger. That way it gives some definition to the outside. There we go, something like that. We can always tweak it later too. Let's go ahead, let's see, these are 7, these are 7 as well. Cool, let's just keep it like that. Alright, so I'm just going to fast forward through the rest of this so you don't have to sit and watch me do every little thing. But I encourage you to follow along with this, go ahead and trace it yourself, and then meet me at the next step. Alright, so I got all the outlines done on this. The next thing I want to do is use a tool that we didn't really talk about, but that is the width tool. So if you go down here, it's this little icon right there. You can use a Shift W to access that. What the width tool does is allows you to tweak the width of your stroke. So right now, all of the strokes are like exactly the same width. Well, actually, let's see. Let's grab everything. Let's make it all 8 point or 7 point maybe. Okay, so now all of them are the same width, and that is fine, except it's a little like flat because of that. So with the width tool, if I do Shift W, what that allows you to do is click and change the thickness of certain points of your stroke. So what I want to do is make sure everything is like, let's see, let's make everything 10 point, and then what I want to do is grab these inside ones. This, maybe like the teeth and the tongue, the nose, the eyes, maybe his like clothes and such. Let's grab those as well. Okay, so let's make all of those 7, so they're not as thick. And then the teeth and the tongue need to be even smaller, I think. Maybe like 5. Okay, that looks good. So what I want to do basically is like, the 10 point stroke is the thickest I want. So what I'm going to do is hit Shift W. And for these, I just want to like shrink down the endpoints a little bit. So I don't want them super, super tiny, but I do want them to be a little bit more dynamic. Something like that. So I'm just going to go through and shrink down the endpoints. You can see it applies it to the whole stroke, so at some points I'll need to like come in and change it back to the 10 point width, or 10 pixel width. Let's shrink this down. So you can see it just adds a little bit extra to the illustrations if all the strokes aren't exactly the same thickness on at every point. Alright, so I'm just going to speed through this real quick, but make sure you do the same. Use Shift W, the width tool, and make the endpoints a little bit smaller to give your illustration a little bit extra. Oh, one thing real quick is you probably will need to adjust the spacing and location of your anchor points, because when you adjust the thickness, it obviously changes like how things are laid out. So some things, like for example right here, stick out and it just looks weird. So make sure to adjust your anchor points as you go. So now that all the outlines are done, you can notice the pupils are still needing to be done. I left those because I'm going to make them a fill and not a stroke. Alright, so what we need to do next is convert our strokes into shapes. So what I'm going to do is hit Command A to select all of the outline. Then I'm going to go up to Object, Expand Appearance. and then object expand again, and then make sure fill and stroke are selected, and then that takes care of all the remaining strokes. And then lastly, go up to object and then path and clean up, and then just hit OK. And that just cleans up some anchor points. And then from here, what you need to do is go to the Pathfinder and up in the shape modes, hit Unite. That makes everything one shape. So now you can work with it like just one shape. Next, I'm gonna make these eyes real quick. So I'm gonna make a shape. Actually, what I'll do is take the Ellipse tool and I'll rotate it ever so slightly. Maybe make it a little skinnier. And then duplicate that on this eye. And I just need to make sure to cut out that little part for like the highlight. So I'm gonna create a new shape. What I'm gonna do is go up to this anchor point by doing the direct select tool and rounding that a little bit. Cool, now I select, I'm gonna duplicate that, put it over here, rotate it a little bit. Now I can go up to, select both of those shapes, go up to the Pathfinder and minus front, and then I'll select, then I'll select these two and do the same. And then what I'm gonna do here is actually just add 2 anchor points, and then select and bring up this last one, like so. And I'll do the same over here. Bring this one up. Bring these anchor points, or these handles up. And then again, I can select all of that and hit merge. Now it's all one shape. Perfect. All right, so now all of this is one shape for our fill, which is perfect. The next thing we want to do is get the base colors down. So what I'm going to do is hit M. Let's create a shape, hit Command Shift and the bracket to send it to the back. Let's change the color so you can actually see what's going on. And what you want to do is select everything and go up to your Pathfinder tool and hit Merge. And then hit A for the direct select tool. And if you select the background, you can delete everything. Then all you have to do from here is grab a single color and go up to select, same, and fill color. Then that will grab everything that's the same color. So let's copy that and hit delete. Then let's go create a new layer, and we'll call this fill. And I'm gonna hit Command F, which pastes that back in. And then from here, I can go ahead and start tweaking the colors of the fill. So let's grab all his skin colors. Let's go over to the Pantone Solid. Remember, if you don't have that open, you can go to Window and then Swatch Libraries, Color Books, and then down to Pantone Solid Coded. All right, so let's just make him, I don't know, something like this maybe, like a yellowish. Let's make his eyes white. I can just use the eyedropper tool and select that. I can make his shoes white as well. And actually, I'm gonna go ahead and hide the sketch file for now. Cool, so let's make the tongue like a pinkish color. Maybe a little desaturated. Make his teeth, let's make those white as well. His mouth, we could do like a dark reddish color. Something like that looks pretty cool. His hair, maybe we could do like, I don't know, blonde or something. Yellowish. That looks too close to his skin color. I'm gonna grab his skin color again, and maybe let's make him a little bit darker. Something like that works for now. Let's grab his shirt, change that color. Maybe let's make it like a green or something. His little suspenders could be maybe white again. And his pants, let's make like maybe a purple or a pink. Oh, and then the inside of his shirt needs to be same color, but maybe like a little bit darker. Cool, so all I need to do from here is create the highlights and shadows. So for that, I'm going to lock the fill color. Actually, no, keep that unlocked. Create a new layer. Call this shadows and highlights. Then basically what I'm gonna do is use the pen tool. Actually, yeah, go ahead and lock the fill color. I'm gonna use the pen tool to draw some shadows. And then it's gonna be under the outline, which is perfect. And then we'll just need to mess with the colors. So let's draw something like this. I'm usually pretty messy when it comes to the shapes on the fill, or I mean the shadows, because it really doesn't need to be perfect. So let's select the same color as that, and we could do like slightly darker, something like that. Looks perfect. And then under his arm would probably be a shadow as well. Maybe something like that. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is let's hide the shadows and fill. I'm gonna go to the fill layer, unlock that. Let's grab these two and copy that. Then let's go to the shadows and fill, paste that in, and make sure it's over. Then I'm gonna select both of those and let's see, minus front, I believe. Actually, no, let's go to divide. There we go. So now these two will be a slightly lighter color. Let's select like a ever so slight whitish purple color, like almost white. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and speed through the rest of this, but I'll meet you once I'm done. Alright, then that is all there is to it. You can keep adding details if you want. Just play around and see what you can do. Practice, create as many illustrations as you can to get comfortable with the interface and the tool and the power of Adobe Illustrator. There is a lot you can do. I really do hope you enjoyed this tutorial, this little series that I made. If you want to follow along with my illustrations and more of the stuff that I'm making, be sure to subscribe below and also check out my website, mackenziechild.me. I'm going to be adding some screencasts and stuff there as well, so be sure not to miss that. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask and I will do my best to answer them for you. I'm at Mackenzie Child on Twitter and Insta, so go follow me on those. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. But until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.